So many of the files are put on hold, because of this ambiguity to be set aside. Moving forward, maybe next 1 month, the BBMP is still discussing whether these has to go through the BDA. So till then, maybe next 2, 3, 4 weeks, once they decide, then we will know. As on date, if in this moment, from this moment, any submission, this has to follow the new guidelines. Yeah, good evening, everybody. There is a recent BBMP circular, in fact, which was in discussion from quite a long time. This was also put for public hearing and objections or something like that. But so for some reason it was not questioned. And recently this has been put into practice. It has come on a Gazette notification also. More fully, this is affecting the this is connected to the city limits plots. So more fully less than town, the 10,000 square meter size or kind of a thing. So there are two, three factors have taken shape in this. One is the substantial reduction in the basement, which is more important. In fact, earlier it was it was at random. It was 2 meters all around, except the roadside. Now they made it 3 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, depending on the site. I think. Can we share the bylaw or the thing presentation? Yeah, this is about say they are actually they have categorized 3 plots basically up to 20,000 and up to 40,000 and 40,000 and above. There was this thing. There was a blanket. What is it called? Basement capacity was up to 2 meters. Now they have reduced it to 3 meters and 4 meters and 5 meters. Of course, for 40,000 square meter or even up to 20,000 square meter also, the basement size will not matter much. But the city limit properties, where the smaller size properties, it will matter a lot for 4,000 size of a kind. This is a very crucial information actually. Second thing is about the reservation of the parks and open spaces. So I would like to mention it. The BBMP has brought this ordinance, and BBMP also have Bangalore. BBMP has also put it. They're also still discussing whether this particular process has to pass through BDA again, because earlier, as per the bylaw, the residential, all that residential plots, which was about 20,000 square meters and above, they were supposed to go for the developmental plan approval from BDA, then come to BBMP for the building plan approval. That's residential. And earlier it was 10,000 square meter for commercial. But for some reason, a later date, even the commercial plots with 20,000 also, were exempted from BDA developmental plan. BDA developmental plan is one more agency, so it adds one more cost to the project, some more timeline. All this are kept separately. Now the issue here is even the smaller plots. They are also in a BBMP is also discussing with BDA whether these plots have to go to BDA developmental plan or no. It is still in the question. So I am told that recently, from past two, almost from 1 year, these bigger plots, they are not going to BBMP because there are changes in the basement, there are changes in the ground coverage, there are changes in the parks and open spaces area also. So basement apart, when we come to the parks and open spaces place, earlier only those plots which is 20,000 square meter and above, they were supposed to set aside for residential, parks and open spaces and civic amenities, and for non-residential, parks and open spaces and surface parking. Now they made it, still the smaller plots also had to go. If, for example, as per the new bylaw, residential lesser than 4,000 square meter, they also have to set aside 15% of their plot for parks and open spaces, which is a very, very crucial area, when it comes to the planning kind of a thing. And there is also a small trade-off. If you're not able to set aside, you can trade off with the BBMP for the guideline value of that plot. So of course, it's a huge money. BBMP will also be earning, but at least the developer will be saving the 10% parks and open spaces, which is very important for them. There's a gap analysis. Now they are expecting the parks and open spaces, even in the smaller plots also, to be, set aside, where they are not, allowing us to get the ground coverage of that area. This is still a little, little difficult for the architects, project architects, to plan their thing in a smaller plots. So this is actually, this from the BBMP perspective, this is a closed case, and they have brought this into the Town Planning Act just last week. We thought we should, for the AECORD thing, we thought we should bring it to everybody. All concerned architects should know this thing, the parameters, recent parameters kind of a thing. Other things are, almost saying it is single plot. They have given the definition of what is single plot, less than, think it will not be not a matter of that concern from the designing part. Here there are three factors we have to connect. One is the shrinking in the basement, that increase in the basement thing. Second thing is the ground coverage, and setting aside the parks and open spaces. These three are the crucial, additions which BBMP has brought it through their recent notification. The non-residential development can be also residential, mixed, and the commercial, lesser than 20,000 square meter. This actually, the point number 2 in the RMP 2015, this was actually the 12,000 square meter had, moved on to 20,000 square meter also, but now again they brought it back to the 12,000 square meter, 10,000 square meter area. Yeah, these are the, what is the basement, when we are connecting to the basement. Earlier it was irrespective of the plot size, the basement was 2 meters. Now in the amendment, they made it 3 meters, 4 meters, and 5 meters for those plots, varying from 5,000 square meter, 22,000 square meter, 42,000 square meter, with all the setbacks, whatever, we took it in a generic sizes. Yeah. So you must have seen lot many things in that ordinance, in that notification. They have made it as a single plot, where they have highlighted all the single plots. Any single plot is, first of all, it's an undivided plot with the typical kata number, but lesser than 12,000 square meter in size. The moment it crosses 12,000 square meter, the approval has to be from the Bangalore Development Authority for the developmental plan. That is why, that title is removed from the single plot. Yeah, this is the earlier amendment and the updated one. The single plot was up to 10,000 square meter was the single plot. For non-residential, also 4 to 10,000 was the single plot. Here the issue here now, the allocation for parks and open spaces, you can read it in the thing. Residentials, 15% of the land area reserved for parks and open spaces. This is a very crucial thing, because 4,000 to 10,000 thing, 15% becomes a very big chunk of the thing. Non-residential, when it comes to the non-residential or mixed use, the 10% plus 5% will be the 10% for parks and open spaces, and 5% will be for the surface parking. There, we need to allocate. This was not there earlier. As usual, the moment it is parks and open spaces and the road areas, see here it is still little not defined properly. In 10,000 square feet, there is nothing called road area. Generally, that's you can call it as a drive-in or a driveway or something like that. Still, they are considering 10% of the park area has to be relinquished free of cost to the authority and to the authority before we sign off the building plan approval. Yeah, the FAR changes. There is no much change in the FAR as it is. Now the buffer guidelines. Now this is the main point. The point D is by chance smaller plots wherein you are not supposed to, if you're not able to allocate the park area, for say, there is a trade-off with the BBMP or with the authority, that is pay 55% of the guideline value of the land for the 5% of the land area into the guideline value. You pay to the BBMP so that you don't have to set aside that particular, parks in that up to 2,000 square meter. The smaller plots, they have exempted by, by this trade-off. When it comes to 2,000 and 4,000, 2,000 to 4,000 square meter, option A, pay 10% of the guideline value and get the trade-off, or reserve 10% of the park area, which is to be handed over to the authority free of cost. This is the, that clause was earlier also. It is same thing. No subdivision or bifurcation unless the registered deed executed before 2025, because they don't want now the plots to be divided into smaller numbers and get the benefit of exemption of these parks and open spaces. Maybe that is the idea. They must have done it. Yeah, they are claiming that the charges, whatever the charges you're paying to the against that trade-off for the parks and open area, it will be set aside or it will be in an escrow account to develop the parks right around your colony. I don't know whether they have committed in the document. That's all.